Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. Okay, the first card that we have out is Ten of Cups. Okay. Ten of Cups, Queen of Swords, Nine of Cups, Six of Swords, and Strength. So what this is looking like is you allowing yourself to move forward with something. Starting off with the Ten of Cups feels like maybe you're feeling protective over the things that make you feel happy. Like when I see the Queen of Swords and the Ten of Cups behind it, it feels like things that are bringing you joy and happiness feeling important, or you being in a space right now where you're like, I want to be feeling fulfilled, or I want to maintain that, or I want to feel stable or maintain the stability, especially on an internal level. Queen of Swords feels like, so everything that's coming towards me, I'm going to look at it through that filter of like, do I feel happy about that or not? Like, do I feel a sense of fulfillment? Is that connecting with me internally or not? So you could also be in a space too where you're like, unless that brings like joy or happiness, it's not something that I'm gonna participate in. Not in like a toxic positivity type of way, but it's like when you have options in your face with different things, looking at it and being like, do I actually want to be doing that? Do I want to be here? Do I want to be there? Is that something that actually on an internal level I feel connected with? Like, is that genuinely resonating with me? Or am I just saying yes? And Queen of Swords is like actually paying attention and then holding that space for yourself, like advocating for yourself, advocating for your pursuit of happiness. This has to do also with the things that you want. So there can be feelings that you have where you're like, I want that. And then you actually have to connect back with yourself and be like, but is that actually am I gonna feel happy about that? Am I gonna feel happy with that? So it's like things that are coming along that are like, do you want me or do you not want me? And you having to look at it and be like, can that be added to this? Sorry, that was my elbow. Can that be added to this or no? So it's about actually really checking in when you have things that are presenting themselves to you and being like, do I really want that? And not just taking things, you know? Like you actually checking in and asking yourself what you want, what you don't want. So it's about using your discernment with what you think that you want and being able to discern what you do versus what you don't actually. What you think might make you happy versus what's actually going to make you happy, or what's going to bring a type of energy that you want versus what's not actually going to. So there can be even something that's being rearranged here. Looks like things are calming down a little bit. Seeing you moving in a direction, but you may feel like it's hard to do this. See, you're going somewhere. You're going somewhere. To have strength, it means that wherever this is that you're going, like, you know it's for the better, but this may not be an easy thing for you to do here. You may be fighting yourself a little bit. I'm hearing something about reconciling. You could also be in a state where you're assessing what you actually want. Okay, so you're moving through something that's feeling difficult right now because it seems like you're feeling sad about something. You could be feeling disappointed about something, or it's not going how you thought it would. Like that type of thing. on. I need to clarify just real quick this 9 of Cups here. Okay, 9 of Cups is connected with 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Pentacles is about opening yourself up. There can be like working together, cooperating. It can be like mutual support, that type of thing. Something that you're looking for. This can feel too... Maybe there was something that you thought you wanted. I want to see further actually before we say anything about that. Feels like there's a little bit of an oscillation. To have 10 of Cups and then have 5 of Cups, this can be like something feeling really happy and now something else is going on and I'm not really feeling like that anymore. You can feel like something's bringing you down. That may be why it's hard to move through this, because you know, like in moving forward, this is also something that you're sort of facing, coming to terms with. It's like the only way out is through, because as you're moving forward, and this card is about whatever was over here, you're moving on from that. And this is always about moving to a better place. So it can be like I was dealing with a lot of stuff over here, and now that I'm moving past it, I'm like giving myself permission to continue on my journey. And this is going to a place where it's like, feels better, I feel more at peace. But having strength for some reason, even though you can know that, like rationally, I can know that I'm moving on to a better place than where I was before. Strength says that it's not easy to do this. Why is it not easy to do this? Because it means that you're facing the 5 of Cups, which can mean you facing and you being honest with yourself about like your feelings about things. So this can be like loss, mourning, grieving, unmet expectations, like those sorts of things. So you know that you're going to a better place, but you know at the same time, like now you have to face these things. And that can be why this is challenging. So you can know like, this is a good thing for me to be doing, but it means that I'm going to have to go through that past stuff. So it feels like coming face to face with those things and deciding, like being willing to sort of meet your emotions. And these would be unprocessed emotions, actually. Because 5 of Cups is where we're still holding on, where we haven't completely accepted things. So it's unintegrated. It can be like knowing that this is for the better, but feeling this is really hard right now. This is really difficult for me. You can even be in a spot where like, I even prefer just being happy about things and like not having to deal with this stuff. And now I do have to deal with it. So I think it's also like both sides of things too. These were situations that felt like they weren't actually aligned for you, but you may still be having a hard time accepting that. But once you accept that, it's going to give you a better idea moving forward of when situations like aren't aligned with you, aren't aligned with your values and whatnot, like aren't aligned with what you deem as being reciprocity. It can be like this. This is an example. Let's say that you feel like you keep having the same like archetypal interaction with a person, and it's like you get your hopes up and then you're let down because you feel like they're not meeting your expectations, but it feels like the same thing over and over and over again that keeps happening. And until you get to a spot where you're like recognizing the red flags or even accepting situations for what they are rather than projecting what you want them to be upon it, there's like a lack of discernment that had been happening. And I think this is also about a lack of discernment that was connected with what you actually wanted. So this can even be like, I've been told for my whole life that this is what I want, and now I'm getting to a point where I'm realizing that's not actually what I want. But I've been being told that my whole life, and so that's what I thought I wanted, but yet I kept feeling unsatisfied, or I kept feeling like I was in these situations that lacked connectivity. Like internally, I didn't feel connected. I felt like there was an element of resonance that was missing. It can be like that type of thing. And you could have continued to be like disappointed within these situations. I get the sense that this is continuously like on an internal level, where now it feels like you may be getting a taste for things that bring you joy, or just even recognizing or acknowledging what these things are, like when you're feeling good and when you're feeling connected and when you're feeling happy and when you're feeling present and when you're feeling at peace or at ease and when you're feeling calm, like all these things, when you feel like your mental health is grounded, all of these things that are associated with the Ten of Cups, when you're feeling stable. Now that you're getting a taste for this, I feel like you're checking in and being like, do I want these certain things? Like, are they actually mirroring what I'm coming to know as my pursuit of happiness or joy or peace, so on and so forth? Or is it not? Because I think before you may have had like this, it's like this container of all of these things that people had told you would make you happy or that you wanted. And I think you're like going through it now at this point and being like, is that thing aligned? Is that thing aligned? You know, and doing this whole process so you can actually move forward from things that you may have thought you wanted, but you don't actually. But you were like fed that at some point, like you were told that at some point, or that person over there looked really happy with what they had, so I thought it would work for me too, and then it doesn't, you know? So this is about needing to recognize those situations where certain things didn't work out because they weren't actually aligned. So that means that you're not going to have to feel sad and disappointed anymore because you're going to be recognizing when situations are not aligned. Rather than being like, I hope that it is, and then it's not, and then you're left in that space again of having to go through it again and again and again. I think too that this could have come as well with, one, a lack of familiarity that you had about your values, but also more than anything about you reinforcing that. Because Queen of Swords is somebody that when you're in that energy, you need to actually be saying, I'm not okay with doing this. Like, or if I'm going to do that, I need to be compensated in this way, whether it be financially or energetically, whatever it is that's happening. What do you need in order for it to feel like there's a sense of equality within the exchange? I also feel too like there's this oscillation with 10 of Cups and 5 of Cups where things are definitely changing for you, but in a way where stuff is becoming more real rather than like whatever game was being played before. Inadvertently though, like it's not something that you would have necessarily been doing to yourself on purpose. Learning about your values. Also learning too when situations do not align. That's the biggest thing. So you don't have to keep repeating these situations and then being like, why am I left feeling like this again? So that's what's happening right now. Keep an open mind. You may be surprised at what you find. So things are being realized. It seems too like this is going to help you with something that you are feeling conflict about currently. Okay. Having Queen of Wands and having Five of Wands, what does this mean? This means that you can be feeling conflict that's associated with your creativity, with your abilities, with your independence, with your self-esteem, with your self-confidence, competence, ability to do things, ability to trust yourself, believe in yourself, those sorts of things. So something personally is being worked out. That has to do with like your self-view, and we have strength here, the way that you express yourself. So this can also be like your creative abilities and whatnot. It's like how you show up, how you're dressing, how you're framing things, how you're presenting yourself, what you're producing even. Your creative process too can also be about your interactions with other people as well. But it's starting sort of at home with your interactions with yourself. Also too, by getting more familiar with what you actually want in a genuine sense, it's giving you more of an idea of like what's aligned for you and your values as well. So this is just feeling like personally tumultuous for you right now. Because I think too, this is meant to be like a period that's going to lead you to a sense of liberation that you may not currently be feeling. If you're reinforcing your values, which means that you need to know what they are and like reflect on them, it feels like this is more so connected with like internal stuff and desire. So it's like, let's say that you're invited to do something and immediately you're like, I don't want to. This is about you showing up for yourself and being like, I don't want to. Actually, being honest with yourself about that. Because when you are, versus like too, sometimes somebody will ask you to do something and you'll be like, oh, I feel so excited about that. I feel so excited about the idea of having plans and getting to wake up in the morning and go do that. And that's going to be like a green light for you. So by you checking in, it's going to continue leading you into situations that you actually are enjoying being in and that you're like being in because you're paying attention. But when you're not paying attention, you just feel like you're in all of these random situations. And it's like, I had a good day because I went into this and it felt reciprocal to me and I knew that I wanted to be there. Or like, I'm having a really bad time right now because I didn't listen to my instinct and I went and I did this anyway. So you can also be like forcing yourself into doing things that you don't necessarily want to be doing. But when you're putting yourself into situations or allowing yourself to participate in things that you actually want to be giving your energy to because you feel like it's also giving something back to you, those are the times where you really get to enjoy that type of interaction. It's going to have you wanting to feel more present as well. So you're learning about what you want and what's resonating with you and what you feel connected with. You're learning about your values as well right now. because we have Page of Swords in the middle of this, and above Page of Swords we have Nine of Cups, which is like what's actually resonating with you in the heart space. Below Page of Swords we have the Devil, which is like what is trying to trick you into thinking you want that. So it's kind of like this, what is the thing that's trying to attract me that's really an illusion and isn't going to be connected with what I want, that I may be buying into, versus what do I connect with, and my heart genuinely does feel connected with that, and I'm like happy to be here because I like that, and because that feels like it's in alignment with me, and emotionally I feel like I can connect to that. Because there can also be some type of, I get this again, like this game that you've been playing, like to have the Devil here and to have all of these things that are connected with like emotionally what's going on with you. You could have been doing something where you were like, now I'm feeling really high and now I'm feeling really low, and just feeling that sense of oscillation, versus you just tuning in and paying attention to like, where do I actually feel like I'm being called, and answering that call and moving in that direction. But some of you may have something that's like calling to you that you need to sort of like protect yourself from energetically. And it all comes back to like you with you too. This is not some type of like some powerful force outside of you that you just can't stand up to. This is like a part of you that's within you that is telling you you want something that's not actually authentic to you. It's just like part of a programming. But it may be something that's really difficult for you to work with. Like the Devil is something really seductive, but then it always leaves us high and dry. So it's not actually fully going to be the thing that we want, but it would be like the cheap way out or an easy way out, but it's not a way out at all. It's like a way in, and then it doesn't let you out, and you have to like claw yourself out of that. If you're actually going towards the Nine of Cups, these are deep wish fulfillments that you actually want. With the Devil, it may be something that's popping up that's more convenient to you, but it's not going to be the answer, and that's why you feel empty. But I'm seeing something is being realized about that. Like, you have Ten of Cups, which is genuinely stuff that brings you that sense of peace and tranquility, and you feel stable and you feel more like even. And there's a sense of like equanimity even within that you find. And then like on the other side of this, you have the Devil, which is something where it's like, I'll give you that, but it's not really giving you that. But it's something that you may buy into for a minute. And to have the Hanged Man here, I think these are things that are being realized, but it may be a truth that's difficult to realize, because it could be easier to just go in this direction. Like, I want to buy into the lie of whatever this is, you know, because it's just there, and maybe it's more difficult for me to get to a more realized space. And so that can really be the challenge here. But it feels like protecting your, I don't know, your spiritual evolution, even though you're still going to be making progress anyway. But the way that you're seeing things now, you can feel like something's coming through and it's being offered to this part of you that may want to take a bite, but you can feel like it's not really the answer for you. But it would be easier to just bend and go that way. Discernment about, so if you have these two things and one of them is like, has a label of it being something you want, and the other one has a label of it being something you want, but one of them is the Nine of Cups and one of them is the Devil, you're like using your discernment to see like which one is actually resonating with you and which one is going to look like it will, but then it won't. Because it's something that's going to take your freedom away and then have you feeling like you need to like cater towards that. And then you feel like there's a dependency on it because you are feeling like you need something outside of yourself. So it's not something that's empowering. It's something that takes away power. With all the options that you have, I think at this point, like, you trying to maintain being in a spot where there's a sense of acceptance for where you are, important. It's like offering yourself things that actually genuinely bring a sense of happiness into your life and doing things in that way, rather than doing it for other reasons and other purposes. So this is about internal fulfillment. I'm seeing conflict that you're currently working through. You may be feeling very, very exhausted working through this. Feels like a lot of heavy lifting. But I'm seeing you also be like, I need to learn this because I don't want to keep finding myself in these situations anymore. Because you could even feel at times like you... I think that there are things actually that are available to you now that are going to feel like reciprocity, but you could be very focused on the past, and that's why you may be having a hard time seeing those things right now. And I think too that it's about releasing those times when things didn't work out, because you have options available to you that would really be aligned with your values, and they would help. Participating in these things, it would help you see yourself in a different way, in a way that you'd actually like to see yourself, that you may not be feeling now. Because I'm seeing you may be struggling with confidence sometimes, you may be struggling with creativity sometimes, you may be struggling with motivation sometimes, maybe struggling with self-expression sometimes, those sorts of things. Just being yourself even, because that's really the essence of the Queen of Wands. It's somebody that attracts things and is attractive in general because they're just being authentic, because they're actually being themselves. So it's not like, what can I do to get other people's attention? This is a realized energy that's about somebody being enigmatic because they're being authentic, and that being where that comes from. But because of past situations that were out of alignment and you being focused on the past rather than the present, it may be sort of not allowing you to see certain things that are going on, and where and what situations are actually reciprocal currently. So it's kind of some stuff still that's being worked through. But what you're meant to actually learn, like, rather than when we go through situations that are challenging for us, from this, because we have Neptune here, it's like from a spiritual, energetic context, for the sake of this reading, when we look at past things that felt sad, that we felt disappointed by, what you're meant to be learning from this is how that happened, and how when you find yourself in situations that lack reciprocity, that's why that happens. And you're not meant to be like taking on all of these emotions towards yourself and internalizing them. All it's meant to be showing you is what's in alignment and what's not. It's meant to be clarifying things that have to do with your values. That's the only thing you're meant to be taking from that in this context. And once you realize that, it's going to change the way that you're seeing yourself, in a way where you're going to feel more motivated, you're going to feel more confident, you're going to feel more like willing and wanting, desiring to express yourself and to create and to live in that way. But being stuck on all the times that things didn't work out, and then having all of your feelings about that and not taking the actual lesson, it's like missing the point. By just being like, oh, that didn't work, and now this and that, you know? It's like, we need to move forward from this to actually pay attention to why that happened, like the whole point of that. And it's for your own personal spiritual expansion. But right now you could be in a spot where you're like, well, I thought this was going to happen, or this should have happened, and it didn't, and I still just can't get over that. And it's like not seeing like why that actually happened, and what opportunity it gave you to learn more about yourself and more about your values. When something presents itself in a way where it's telling you that you may want it, I feel like there's a rethinking that's happening here. That you could have thought that you wanted certain things, and now that you're checking in, it may be a little bit different. As I said before, it's like that box of all these things that have a label on it that's associated with something you want, and going through each thing, combing through, being like, do I want this? Do I want this? Like, is that true to me? Is this resonating with me? Like that sort of thing. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.